Hey folks, so this video is an interview that I'm doing with Steve Gamble. He's a good friend, I hope I can say good friend, of mine that I've met through music. We chat often, and he had this idea that we could interview each other and put together a cool video. So he sent me some questions. I'm going to go through them and answer them, and you'll probably learn a lot about me and my music that you wouldn't otherwise from just like watching promo videos and things like that. So here we go.
All right, here today with my buddy Pype720. I had a few questions for you. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thanks a lot for this idea, and I think it's going to be fun. Oh, I should also mention that Steve just released a new album called Guns A-Blazin'. It's a great album. It's perfect for your summer vacation. It's folk Americana, dash of country. I really enjoyed it. I think you'll enjoy it as well if you like that sort of thing. Definitely go find him on Spotify, your favorite streaming service, and listen to that. Also, a personal favorite of mine is a song he released, I think this year, called "Long Way Home." Start with that. That's really a great song and a favorite of mine.
Awesome. Well, the first one is, how many instruments do you play in total, and how many do you play on that new song you just dropped, Don't Let Me Down?
So the instruments I play, and I guess I'll order this in expertise, I play guitar, bass, ukulele. I also have played at some point in my career. I've learned a little bit of piano. I'm not a great pianist, but I understand my way around it, and I could play songs at it at some point. I haven't practiced in a while. Harmonica, it's been years since I played harmonica, but at one point I was decent. It's definitely something that I'd like to work into my music again really soon, and I have played drums at some point. I had a full acoustic set that I used to play. Again, not very good, but you know, I love, as I can find time, I love playing different instruments. Oh, so Don't Let Me Down. I play. I guess there's a guitar. I play the lead guitar, the bass lines. I'm singing. I think that's pretty much it. The drums are programmed drums. I wish I could play drums like that, but that's the case for a lot of my songs. I don't know if there are synths in that song, but in a lot of my tracks I do add in synths wherever it's necessary.
Very cool. So you say you wrote that song, Don't Let Me Down, about 20 years ago, roughly? And I just kind of wanted to know what made you want to record and release it now?
Yeah, so I wrote Don't Let Me Down 20 years ago. I wrote a lot of songs in probably a 5-year period, from like my last year in high school through college, and even when I was playing in bands. There were a lot of songs I was writing that weren't always appropriate for the band and were really more solo material. So the reason I'm releasing it now is really the reason that I've started this music project, and I have a lot of songs in my archive that I've just never recorded or released or haven't been heard, and this was one of them that I'm very proud of. A big reason that I'm doing this music project is to leave a legacy. I've frankly faced my mortality a few times in my life, and the last thing I want to think is like, oh, no one's gonna hear that great song that I wrote. So this isn't the last one. I'm gonna release a few more, and I think some really great ones. Perhaps some of my best music is still yet to come. Songs that have been written over a decade ago. Just now seeing the light of day.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, one thing that strikes me about you is the variance of your abilities. You play slap bass, ukulele, metal, pop, dream folk, if I can call it that. How did that all come about?
Yeah, so I love doing different genres. I love challenging myself. As soon as I get, in my opinion, decent at something, I want to try the next thing. So how did I get involved? I mean, I got started with music in the 90s with alternative rock when like Nirvana, Smashing Pumpkins, Green Day, Foo Fighters, all these bands were huge influences on me. But I also played in a classic rock band, and that was mostly 70s and 80s. It was alternative. I've done some like punk music with like my band in high school and the band I had in college. So there's always different influences, and I'm always trying to incorporate a lot of different things, and I just love music. I like listening to a lot of different things, and usually the music that excites me the most is something that's brand new to me. And as soon as I learn it, it's something that I want to incorporate into my own music. So I'm never really shooting for a specific genre or sound. It's really like whatever I've been listening to is ultimately what comes out in the songs that I write and produce.
Okay, and the next question is, what is your favorite cereal?
So, my favorite cereal, I guess I like cornflakes and Honey Nut Cheerios. Those would be my two favorite cereals. It is an interesting question though, because I am a vegetarian. I've been a vegetarian for 3 years now, and I quit eating meat a while back for health reasons. So I actually do eat a lot of cereal. It's kind of a staple of my diet, just a lot of grains.
Okay, and what is your favorite musical movie? Can be a musical, can just have a lot of music in it. Can even be a documentary about music.
So musical movie is tough. I never got into musical theater, not because I don't like it. I guess it was never a huge influence in my life. And the stuff that I have seen recently, it does interest me because it's new to me. I will say that in terms of musical content, like this last year, I've been watching some Song Exploder episodes, which is a show on Netflix where they dissect a specific song. So it's not a movie. These are more like documentaries. But there were 2 episodes about REM and Nine Inch Nails that actually influenced me greatly, to where I did covers of both of those bands, one of which is coming out on July 1st, 2021, the REM song. So I'd say if you're a musician, definitely watch Song Exploder. If you have Netflix, I think there's also a podcast that goes with it that's out on a bunch of platforms.
Like my favorite about the Smurfs, but that's for another time. All right, so one thing that I love about you, it's so cool, you release a single the first of the month, each month, so people can kind of expect it and have something to look forward to. How did that idea come about?
So songs on the first of the month, every month, there's a lot of reasons and strategy behind this approach. Like one of the things that I saw when I was doing research and sort of planning my music project is everyone was very, very much emphasized putting consistency and putting out a lot of music. And a lot of the articles and the videos that I saw said that you should try and release some new music once a month. And the reason for that is you always have something to promote. So you always have a reason to sort of be on social media and to give folks reminders. So that's one reason is, it's part of the promotional strategies that I always have something to promote. I have a ton of content. Frankly, more content than actually gets posted. I have archives of stuff constantly because the new music is always coming. It also, another reason is it holds me accountable. By making this commitment and making a commitment and advertising it, it forces me to push forward and to be aggressive about the songs that I'm putting out. So it helps time box everything. I am a father. I have a day job. I've got a lot going on in my personal life, so I need some sort of accountability to make sure that I'm making progress on the music project. So the other, I guess the last reason I'll give is my day job is as a software engineer, and I really like a software programming methodology called rapid prototyping. This is something that I use in my day job, and it's also a concept that I'm applying to my music project. If I'm releasing a new song once a month, I have an opportunity to improve every month. And I think that if you follow my music project, you will hear production improvements release to release. You will hear, I incorporate, feedback from from the fans and the people that I speak to on social media. So it gives me that opportunity that, you know, every month it's like a clean slate. Every month's a new opportunity to sort of to blow someone away, to get those next fans. And rapid prototyping, it's an opportunity to try something new. You're going to hear some tracks from me that are going to be a bit more experimental. The track I'm putting out in August is experimental, and it's gonna be, I hope, not like anything anyone's heard before, and it's risky. It could be great. My feeling is some folks are gonna love it, and some folks are really not. But if you're following me and you listen to that and you don't like it, well, maybe you'll like the next release. And ultimately, I'd like to have some songs that at least like something for everyone. I'd like for all of the listeners to be able to come and be like, well, you know, I don't love all of his tracks. Some of this stuff is kind of weird, but I really like this style of music, so I'll listen to this track. And hopefully over time, I can release, you know, multiple tracks of sort of different styles. So yeah, that's kind of the idea behind it.
Cool. So I know you have kids and a wife, and she's a musician as well. Just kind of curious, how often do you guys actually get to play together and have fun?
So we actually just finished recording a couple of songs, maybe 2 or 3 months ago. For a while, after I'd shipped tracks for the Pype720 project, I took a break and focused on her song. She's actually a very brilliant songwriter, and you know, I'm always encouraging her to like let's record and sort of build out some of these songs. So we're still talking about how and when we'll release those. I have a big block of stuff that I need to do for Pype720, but once I get to a stopping point, I think I'm going to revisit and we'll get back working on her project. So when we're together, one thing that we have done is a lot of times she sings and plays ukulele. So a lot of times I'll just play bass along with whatever she's doing, and that actually mixes really nice, and that's a really fun way to connect.
Cool. And who's a better singer out of you two?
So who's the better singer? I actually have been asked this question before, so I have an answer, and I would say that she is better at writing vocal melodies and vocal lines, and probably a better lyricist. I have a very loud voice. I have a very strong voice that comes from playing punk music and hard rock and just trying to cut through guitars. So tonally, she's probably better. You know, my goal is typically to just be loud and know that I'm here. Is it always on key? It's not always important to me. It's, you know, that's kind of like the punk rock ethos, the sort of like the indie alternative is, I prefer a more raw and genuine sound. So I guess that's a diplomatic answer, but I think we have very different styles and we're better at very different things.
Cool. So let's go back to the start. What band was it that made you want to pick up your first instrument and play? And what instrument did you start out on?
The band that was huge when I started playing guitar was Nirvana. And I was really into In Utero, had just come out. And the first song, one of the first songs, or maybe the first song I learned was The Heart-Shaped Box by Nirvana. And the reason they were such a good band to follow as a musician is that all the guitar lines are famously simple, and the way Kurt Cobain played was, you know, again, not something that was always technically or aesthetically perfect. It was raw and it was fraught with emotion, and you know, there definitely was sort of that punk background. Where you could pick up a guitar and learn a Nirvana song, crank up the distortion, and it would sound great. So yeah, that and I started with guitar and took a few lessons for a couple of years, and I was kind of on my way. From that, I branched out into other instruments, singing, and all of those things.
Cool. So you covered the Killers, All These Things That I Have Done last month for your May 1st release, which is one of my favorite songs. What made you want to play that particular song now?
So All These Things That I've Done is a song I've played for years. As soon as it came on the radio and I heard it for the first time, and they have that breakdown where he's like, I got soul, but I'm not a soldier. Like, I fell in love with that song at that moment. Like, the production on the song was amazing. The simplicity of the chord progressions. I mean, it's just one of my all-time favorite songs, and I've just played it for years. And it became a family favorite where my son would ask for me to play it, and we'd all sing it. I'd just play it on the acoustic guitar, and I kind of like polished it over the years. So recording it, I think it came out really well because I'd already been playing it for so many years. And I think that song in particular, perhaps not the Killers overall, but that song in particular, I think really lets me shine in a lot of the things that I'm good at.
Now, a very serious question. Who's better, Stones or Beatles?
Going with the Beatles. I actually saw the Rolling Stones at FedEx Field, and again, that was probably 15 years ago. And I love both bands, but I think artistically, the Beatles have better songs. I think the Stones can kind of be somewhat of like a jam band, and which is good. I mean, I like jam bands, but I know that when I saw them, some of the songs just went on pretty long. And I will say late Beatles. I love Abbey Road, Magical Mystery Tour, and Sgt. Pepper's. Like, those were the albums that I had and I really loved. So yeah, I don't know. I probably upset some people by saying that.
And really curious to find out, like, what are your thoughts on Sasquatch, aka Bigfoot, if any?
Sasquatch. So I do know that we discover new species every day, and that, I don't know, there's some ridiculous estimates about the amount of unexplored parts of the planet, particularly in the oceans. But I know that there's definitely a possibility for a lot of different species that we've never discovered, and we're learning new things every day. So I would have to say that it's impossible to sort of deny the existence of another species. Do I think it exists? I don't really know, but I would definitely leave open that possibility.
Okay, fair enough. Well, one of my favorite things about your April 1st release, Sleep Tight, was the background sounds. You recorded some natural sounds, which I'm always a big fan of. I thought it really worked with the dreaminess of the song, and wanted to know, how'd you come up with that idea?
So the background sounds, I was recording the ukulele through a microphone. This doesn't have a pickup, and I was recording it through a microphone. It was a summer night and it was hot, so I had the windows open, and this was like 2019. Just for some context, like we had done this song a while ago, before Pype720 existed. And then I later like remixed and remastered it for the project, and I think I re-recorded the ukulele that I'm talking about even right now. But so it was open and it was loud. In the summer, we live near some wooded area. It's an old neighborhood. There's a lot of big trees, so it's loud. And I was thinking, like, how am I going to prevent these from getting into the mix? But then I thought, well, like, this is actually perfect for this song. It's a song about sort of like a dream state. It's about sleeping. It's nighttime. So I just leaned into it, stuck the microphone out the window for, whatever it is, 30 seconds or so. And, it's just one of those very happy, inspirational moments. I'm actually doing something very similar in a track that I'm working on right now. And that's about all I'll share right now. I'm still working out on it, but I am working on incorporating more natural sounds into this track that I'm working on. It's really fun to do things like that.
Cool. Next question is, what's the top 2 best concerts you've ever seen and why?
Best concert is tough, so let me think. The first concert I saw was Lollapalooza 1994, and it was the Beastie Boys and Smashing Pumpkins headlining. Green Day actually opened that concert, but we missed them. They were just getting big, like in that moment, and I was really upset. They were my favorite band at the time. But Smashing Pumpkins, I would have to say, is up there. They opened with a song called Soma off of their debut major release, Siamese Dream. And it's this epic, like 8-minute, like amazing guitar song. I remember that, and that was great. Any Nine Inch Nails concert, I want to say I've seen them 3 times. The one that I remember most, maybe not the best one, but the one I remember most is on their With Teeth tour. Where were they? They were at an arena. They played with Queens of the Stone Age. Queens of the Stone Age was great, and it was just like, if you ever get a chance to see Nine Inch Nails, it's just an amazing concert. And with every tour, they just put so much into the visuals of the concert itself. So I guess those are the top 2. I'll give you one more. I saw My Chemical Romance, The Black Parade, and yeah, I mean, we were just so lucky to see that album came out, and that might be my favorite all-time album. Gerard Way, I think, needs to be in the conversation for best hard rock vocalist ever. He's probably the best hard rock vocalist of the 21st century. Just amazing. I play a lot of My Chemical Romance songs. I don't know that I'll ever play them well enough for anyone to hear, but I have a track that's semi-done. I don't really have the guts to release it.
Cool. One thing I always want to ask people, just in conversations, if there was one musician, past and present, you could meet, who would it be? One in the past that's passed away, and one that's still alive.
A musician that's passed away, probably might go with Kurt Cobain. I already mentioned how big an influence Nirvana was on my early musical career, but I'd also say Chris Cornell. I haven't talked about him yet, but just an amazing vocalist and an amazing songwriter. He has an album, a solo album, which I think is actually his best work over and above Soundgarden. It's called Euphoria Morning, and I learned how to play a song called Preaching the End of the World. There are 23 chord shapes in that song, and I have no clue how he makes it so cohesive with that many changes. And something I learned, and I've since forgotten half of it, but it was very challenging to learn and to sing, and it's so good. That album, if you get a chance, listen to Euphoria Morning by Chris Cornell. So I think that would probably be my past musician. Present is Trent Reznor. He's definitely my GOAT, my greatest of all time musician. Just a brilliant composer, and he's clearly shown his versatility. You asked me earlier about versatility. Like, I'm always watching what he's doing and trying to emulate, because he's gone from doing industrial metal, started with like sort of synth pop metal, to industrial metal, and now he's scoring Disney movies. So like, he scored Soul with Jean-Baptiste. He actually was credited with as a songwriter on Old Town Road, because the producer for Old Town Road lifted a Nine Inch Nails track, like an instrumental track, and then basically laid down a beat, put vocals over it, and that's how you got Old Town Road. So he's won a ridiculous amount of awards from all sorts of different ceremonies and academies and everything, and has really just shown that he's an excellent musician and composer, and he can do just about anything. Cool.
Well, it's been fun. I'm looking forward to your next releases here. Definitely, I know you have some planned out for the rest of the year, and they all come out the first of the month, which is awesome. And so last question for today, what's the rest of your year looking like for Pype720?
So the rest of the year, I have my REM cover coming out on July 1st. It's The End of the World as We Know It, and I Feel Fine. After that is the experimental song I mentioned earlier. It's called Not Enough. It's a song about consumption, and that is kind of like an industrial synth pop experimental song. After that is a hardcore punk song called Unprovoked. It's about injustice. And then after that is the song that I mentioned that I'm working on right now, which I'm not ready to share too many details on it because I'm still working on it, but I should be able to announce soon. And then the last one is going to be a holiday song. And I've actually got a couple of things done for next year already, so I'm already starting to lean into and figure out what 2022 is going to look like.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule today to talk with me. Look forward to talking to you soon, buddy. Have a good one.
Hey Steve, thanks so much for this idea and for being such a good friend and connecting with me from time to time. I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate your time and hey, I love your music too. So have a great day and I'll talk to you soon.